Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Seezus Show. It's been a minute, a lot of time to decompress and just think about where we kind of wanted things to kind of go. So last time we recorded an episode was, I believe October, and that was the start of the NBA season. Obviously, a lot has transpired as well too, but we decided to switch it up a little bit as well too. But before we get into talking about that, want to make sure that you guys hope you guys missed this as well too, but we're excited to drop a lot of new content for you guys. But before we get into all that, I want to introduce my co-host, also the return. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Terrence Whaley.
What's poppin', everybody?
And ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Carl Conyers.
What's good, everybody?
How y'all been, man?
Shit, man, feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Summer finally on the way. When was the last time we was on camera? Honestly, it's been
I think October. I'm looking right now at the docs. October, I want to say the 15th.
Okay,
That
cool.
was
I
when-
mean,
So the last time was me and you. I don't remember the last time.
Oh
It was
yeah,
the
just
three
me
of us.
and you at
Yeah.
the hype joint, this
Yeah.
hype space. So with him,
Oh,
probably,
okay.
I don't even know.
well, I mean, either way, hey, since I've been on camera, Luke in La La Land, so I'm doing really, really great as a Laker fan. But also just life is good, man. You know, things are looking up for me, and things feel fine. Nothing bad's going on in life right now, so the energy is flowing.
What about you?
What's been going on? Sorry, my mom just called me while this was happening. Text her. She talking about she hasn't heard from me, and we talked like 2 days ago, bro.
It'd be like that. My dude's always gonna come for you.
Things have been good. Started a new job, so settling in there and everything, and yeah, can't complain too much.
Yeah, things been good with me too. Like I told y'all off shooting air, whatever you want to call it. I've been in Koreatown past 4 years,
Crazy.
and now I'm a new resident of Mid City. So that's been pretty good. Been living by myself for 5 years.
Two completely different worlds.
Two
too.
completely different worlds, Mid City versus K-Town / I guess I was like 5 minutes from Silver Lake, so it's night and day. I was telling Carl and Terrence, a lot more quiet, which I can enjoy. I'm in a historically black neighborhood, which is nice. Some good coffee shops around me as well too. But the biggest thing is just coexisting with another human being in my space. But I think we had our communication errors at first, and now now we good. Now we're in a good space, but I like it. A lot of space. I can't wait to get it all set up and have a little housewarming with all y'all too.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like, and now it's like kind of all coming back to me too. I think like the LA fires happened while we was gone too, right?
Yeah.
So like, a lot. I had actually a homie of mine that just got some like temporary housing today. They literally just moved in like while the insurance like works on stuff. So.
Yeah.
Definitely, if anybody watches the show that's still affected by that, we still thinking of y'all and things like that. That was like the city was really band together like during that time, and I was really like proud and appreciative of like being a part of that too. So if y'all out there and y'all still struggling with that, definitely people still thinking about you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, that happened, and then I was just thinking about like how I just wanted to move forward with the podcast as well too. And obviously it was very niche with NBA hoops and whatnot, which is a huge passion of mine. Obviously you guys are passionate about it as well too, but I always thought, and people always kind of came to me and asked like, you should expand, whether that's more sports or just have other outlets to kind of talk about as well too. So that's something that took some time to think about, and I definitely wanted to expand. So the Seezus Show is not just basketball. It's all encompassing with sports, music, what's happening on the culture, film, you name it, whatever's hot. And, we're going to talk about that as well, too. So, got the new logo. Hope y'all like it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
pretty
no,
solid.
it's
pretty
cool.
Solid, pretty solid.
I think like shout out to like all our inspirations too, that like all the other like content creators and podcasts that are out there that kind of like showcase that well-roundedness to their show and shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for growth and for us too. So obviously a thank you to you for even being open to that, because me and Carl obviously joined later on, and we knew that this was your show. So thank you for even being open to that too.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we got the new logo, we got the new intro track, which they're gonna hear obviously when all this gets edited and whatnot as well too. So I'm glad that we all had a consensus on all that as well too. So shout out to my homie back at home, Wave Week, who did the logo design, and then my homie Rusnik, who's a producer back in Richmond, Virginia. Love y'all guys as well too. And then also another shout out to Peyton Arbor. He was the guy behind the scenes making all this work. Did the lighting, the recording, the photography, you name it. He took care of everything. So just want to let you know that we miss you from afar as well too. And hopefully we see you real soon. So let's get into today's topics. Obviously, started with basketball, so we're gonna start with basketball as well too, man. It's been a while. Last time it was Carl and I, and we were talking about a lot of things, and a lot of things have transpired. Obviously, the Luka trade, teams like the Pistons being relevant again as well too. Wemby went out with a blood clot.
Yep.
The Clippers are looking okay. I had to put the Clippers in there as well.
God.
Too. Boston being Boston, so a lot of this kind of transpired, man. If I had to ask you guys, what are your impressions of the season as we were winding down to the final games, man?
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it would definitely be some pleasant surprises. So Detroit is in there. I feel like, I guess Denver's regression has been a lot more, I guess, abrupt than I thought it would be. I feel like, and then I would also say, I'm trying to think of what's happening out east right now. That shocked me as well. But it's not coming to my head right now. But really, mostly Detroit. I feel like, because outside of y'all's latest draft pick, your latest first round draft pick, the squad's pretty much the same other than the coaching change, right?
No.
Or it's pretty much it's scrapped.
It's not. We added a bunch of actual NBA caliber players.
Okay, so Tobias Harris, and then
Tobias Harris,
Hardaway
Malik
Jr.
Beasley, Tim Hardaway,
and that was a pleasant surprise for me, bro. Seeing Malik Beasley step into this this NBA vet type role with the younger ones, and then and just play well, because obviously he was a cone on defense when he was with the Lakers, and then he went to Milwaukee and was kind of the same. Is he kind of still the same?
He's not a great defender, but he's making 4 threes a game at 40-some%, so
making
it don't
a
really
difference.
Matter.
Yeah. But no, Detroit definitely, I would say, is my pleasant surprise about the season so far. What about you though?
I mean, shit, yeah, I'm from Detroit, so that's my pleasant surprise. I mean, because I think it really gets understated, and I will say what I do love is, a lot of the times I've been seeing recently people calling out the national media for not talking about this as much, but we literally tied the record for most consecutive losses in a single NBA season last year. Not 2 years ago, last season. And to go from that to adding we added some new players, but they're all role players. They're all guys that are making $10 million or under or something like that, other than Tobias Harris, but he's always overpaid. But for the most part, we only added role players. So to go from that to now being the 5th seed right now as we speak, I'm pretty sure in the East is insane. It's really, really insane turnaround. So yeah, my hope this year was for us to make it into the play-in, and that was probably as a 10th or 9th seed. I didn't even think this was possible.
Yeah,
I think the biggest surprise is how bad the Philadelphia 76ers are. Going into the season, you and I talked about this. I thought they were going to be a top 4, top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, just by the emergence of Maxey, having Joel Embiid, be an MVP caliber player, and then playoff P come over there as well too. But it's just bad luck.
What did you say, playoff P?
Yeah,
way off P.
Way off P. It's just very unfortunate because preseason he looked pretty good, and then he had the knee sprain, and he had another knee sprain, and then he had to get some cortisone shots in his knees. Tyrese Maxey sprained his ankle to start the season, and then I thought Joel Embiid was going to play well because he played in the Olympics. Obviously, he was a little hampered, but I was like, all right, you got a couple months off. You're going to be fine. And he ain't played, till 2.5 months into the season? And now he's shut down?
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, like, this is terrible. So now it makes me evaluate Joel Embiid. Is he ever going to be somewhat of what he is? And then also, like, is Paul George...
Cooked.
Is he cooked now?
He's cooked.
Is he cooked?
He's cooked.
Bro,
That's what I want.
He's about to be 35, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's cooked.
Probably
He's
35
cooked.
and making
He's cooked.
50+ mil a year.
Cooked.
They're
cooked.
The podcast career is gonna be up though. I feel
It's crazy because he took a break from that joint.
yeah.
Talking about to focus on the championship run. Like, my dog,
It
what?
was so crazy.
Y'all was already like, they was
That
at
shit
least
was
10
so
games under 500 when he
crazy.
said that shit.
That shit was so crazy.
Nah, it was nasty work. It was definitely some nasty work for
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I was probably most shocked by that. And then, like I said, I'm very proud of what the Detroit Pistons have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, the Luka trade was wild.
Bro, I was right in
Please.
there. I was
Please.
right in there in my bed. Literally, me and Siobhan, like, we was getting ready to bed. I literally turned over to like cut the lamp off to just fucking go to sleep and shit. I turned back over my phone right here, and sometimes I just like open Bleacher Report just to like just to fuck around if I don't have shit else to do. And I opened up Bleacher Report, and literally they put the little 2 alarms when the shit's popping off, and I saw Luka on the headline traded to the Lakers, and I'm like, this is cap. Somebody got into y'all fucking servers and like hacking this shit. But nah, man, went straight to Shams and went straight to my group chat, put that shit in there. The rest is history.
Yeah, it's what is it called? Like, what's the saying? Like, you remember the time and place exactly where you exactly where you were when an event happened.
Yeah, are you talking about like the term that's called?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I can't think of it, but like I'm always going to remember that joint.
Yeah,
dog.
man.
Like you said, I thought it was fake, but wow, it just makes me think. Like Carl was talking before we started recording. Like I feel like that higher power within the NBA, they gave the Spurs the number 1 pick to get Wemby. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, with the ratings being down, them bashing the product and whatnot, do you think behind closed door they're like, hey yo, like we need Luka, like you're the fall guy? That's
one theory, and then I heard another one where they were talking about the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks after Cuban sold the team. Mm-hmm. He wanted to build a casino add-on to the arena, but I guess the city of Dallas or like the state of Texas denied the bill that needed to be passed in order for them to build the casino. So they're saying that he's trying to tank the team by sending Luka away so that he can move the team to Las Vegas.
To Las Vegas, damn! Because I thought the extra expansion would be in Vegas and
exactly.
then maybe another team in Seattle.
Exactly.
But I don't. I mean, and at the end they were never gonna know unless someone blows a whistle years from now. But
yeah,
I feel like it was some BS. Like you don't just trade a franchise player like that
out of nowhere.
For
Anthony
Davis.
And then to say, and again, because I don't want to shortchange, bro. Anthony Davis was playing great when he was playing this year, but to trade Luka for a player like Anthony Davis, and then for you to say somehow it has anything to do with availability is fucking excuse my language, is insane. Like insane, bro. And just to show you it's insane, Anthony Davis played about 15 minutes with the Mavericks so far since they traded for him 2 months ago.
Shit crazy.
And then Kyrie goes down with the ACL injury.
They couldn't have had worse luck, bro.
I feel bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for no rich nigga, but obviously it's a human aspect. But Clay's just like, damn, I came to play with Luka to get easy shots, to play a couple more years, and now I got to play with these 2 dudes. Like,
I'm gonna mention them later in my tiers, but yeah, this is more than bad luck that they're experiencing right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anything else you're surprised about? I guess for Spurs fans, getting De'Aaron Fox as well too.
Yeah, that was cool. Definitely
remember I was
accelerating
telling you about Trae Young. Remember?
Yeah.
No, this is way better than Trae Young.
Definitely accelerating the timeline some. And now I'm just wondering what they're gonna do, because I think they still have either 2 or 3 draft picks in this first round for this draft. Mm-hmm. So just looking to see like what comes of this draft here. I like, and we'll talk about this a little bit with the college aspect in March Madness too. But there's a guy that plays for UConn. His name's Liam McNeely. He's like a really good like stretch four. I think that would be cool to put next to Victor in spots too. But yeah, I think the Spurs, front office has always been healthy, and now I just feel like getting that blood clot situation with Vic is obviously number one priority, but. Having De'Aaron there is great. You got a 30-point, 25 to 30 point, per game you can get out of him too. So it's cool.
Stephon Castle's looking really well. This is a blessing in disguise for him as well too. To basically get the most shots up outside of Vassell. Yeah, CP there molding him too. So I like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, but you kind of covered it. So you would draft the stretch four? Because I don't want him to want me to always play the five. Because another thing we suffer at is rebounding.
Right.
So it'd be nice to get like a traditional big. Since he can't stretch the floor, I don't mind having like a Clint Capella type of big as opposed to like a stretch five. But I'm cool with that name if we just sign like a big like Vucevic or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'd rather go like and do it through free agency. Yeah. Like you get somebody who's kind of already an established vet to put next to him, like that. And then you get a younger through the draft and get like the best shooter in the draft too. Honestly, in Liam McNeely. So yeah, that's what I would go for. But there's a few options. I think we'll obviously see what happens after the lottery. But if they're in like the 8 to 13 range, that's still going to be good enough to get you a solid prospect.
Okay. So. All right, cool. And then what were you trying to talk about for one of the topics? The tiers, the teams.
Yeah, we want to go straight to
them. Yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Bet. All right, y'all. So let's get into these tiers. This is the first edition of Carl's tiers.
Okay.
Hopefully this is something that we can
build on.
Build on and continue to have, and as well as when football season comes along. But this is a kind of a close to end of the season version of it. So, without further ado.
Yep.
Okay.
So the first category of the tiers is the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. These are all teams that are clearly at this point doing whatever they can to get the Duke star.
So with the tiers, it's like a pyramid sort of, and they're at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Yep. So we have, at this point, the 76ers, the Wizards, Charlotte, which is another point to me. I think when we had the last time we were on, it was before the All-Star.
Yeah.
So we never got to talk about the whole LaMelo being snubbed thing. But to me, if your team is in the hunt for the number one overall pick, you're not an All-Star. But that's a whole other thing. Brooklyn is also in the sweepstakes. Utah, particularly Utah, because I just feel like that fits their culture. They want another Gordon Hayward. New Orleans, San Antonio at this point in the year, and Toronto. Yeah. So all those
Philly
teams,
there too?
Yeah, Philly was in there.
Okay.
Philly number one. So all these teams at this point, their eyes are definitely on next year. They're doing whatever they can to tank, sitting players. Toronto got Brandon Ingram like 2 months ago, and apparently he has the worst sprained ankle in the history of sprained ankles.
And he got the bag that early and hasn't played?
Hasn't even played, bro. Like,
that's nasty.
But honestly, I think that Brandon Ingram trade was some type of ploy to be able to move someone else, because their team as constructed, to me, with RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes doesn't really make sense. It just feels like there's a lot happening right there.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. The next category for the tiers are teams that aren't in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, but probably should be. The first one is Portland. They're not in the sweepstakes because they have like 30-something wins right now. So they're just, of course, there's always a chance that you can end up with the number one overall pick, but I think that they have too many wins at this point. But I don't know why. They went on a streak recently where they were winning like 8 out of 10 games or something like that.
That shit was crazy, actually.
Yeah, bro. Sit these guys. What are you doing? What are you doing at this point? The Scoot needs to be starting. Give him 40 minutes a game, whatever. Figure that out. Miami, who it's really crazy to look at how their season has got off the rails. But at this point, Tyler Hero doesn't need to be playing. Bam, you could probably sit him because you're losing with them playing already at this point.
And they be losing in clutch time too. It'd be good back and forth, and they just fold.
Get folded up. Chicago, to me, Chicago and Sacramento are the last two teams in this tier, and to me, they're both in the same place of like, I don't know what y'all are doing, what y'all GM is doing. You traded away De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine. De'Aaron Fox wasn't enough ever, clearly, so you think Zach LaVine is about to be enough.
They don't have no point guard.
Chicago, okay, you traded away Zach LaVine, but you didn't get rid of Vucevic. So are you actually trying to rebuild, or are you just staying in this weird 30 wins place where you're not going to get the number one overall pick?
They got like 3-4 guards. Like.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with either of those teams. They're not good enough to do anything at all, but they're not going to be bad enough. So yeah, they should be. The next tier is basketball hell. And that is reserved for the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
I think that it's clear that they upset the basketball gods by pulling the stunt that they pulled by trading Luka for Anthony Davis and 1 first-round pick, and then going on to, because on its face everyone knows that it's an insane trade, they decided to go on a smear campaign and try and do everything they could to shit talk Luka and make it look like he's a terrible person, this and that. And all that has happened since then is their current star player has torn his ACL. The guy they traded for has played 2 quarters. All their other guys are getting injured. Their 2 starting centers are both out. They've been out for months. I think they were close to, like a week ago, having to forfeit games because of so many injuries. To me, at this point, it's not bad luck. You did it to yourself. This is all things that this owner brought on the team. Him and Nico Harrison.
Yep.
The next tier is the best case scenario for these teams is losing in the first round, and that's Phoenix, Orlando, and Atlanta. I think that all 3 of those teams are going to be lucky to make it into the playoffs. I think because I think they're all going to be playing teams. So if they do make it, the best case for them is to lose in maybe 6 games in the first round. But Orlando's offense stinks. Atlanta, to me, is a lot like without Jalen Johnson and some of these other pieces, I just don't trust Trae Young outside of, he had 1 year where they made it to the conference finals. He doesn't really do much in the playoffs since then. And Phoenix is just abysmal for whatever reason. I can't figure it out, but they're not going to be doing anything. Unless what it took for KD and Book to average like 30-something on 60% shooting for them to win any playoff games the other year. The next tier is first-round upset potential. So here I have Minnesota, the Clippers, and Detroit. All of these teams are going to be on the bottom half of the bracket just with the way the seeding is looking right now. It's possible that Minnesota could potentially creep up, and it's possible Detroit could creep up into that top 4 range, but more than likely these guys are going to be on the bottom half of the bracket, but they're all dangerous. Minnesota, for obvious reasons, you have Anthony Edwards. It seems like they've kind of started to figure things out. Detroit, for a lot of, we were talking about before, I think they're just a surprise team, and to me especially, I know you might disagree, but I think if they get matched up with the Knicks out of those top couple of Eastern teams, that's probably the one team that I could really see them beating. And then the Clippers, Kawhi seems to be a little bit more healthy now. James Harden, Zubac is playing like a really good player all of a sudden. Yeah,
top 5 center.
Norman Powell. So I just think those teams have a chance of upsetting someone in the first round, but I don't see them going too far after that.
Yeah.
Then the next tier is these teams all I feel like have a second round ceiling. So here we have Memphis, Houston, Indy, and New York. Memphis, until I see it with them, I don't think that they're really contenders. Every time they've had a gaudy record, they come into the postseason and don't look the same.
And it's hard to evaluate them too because Ja always hurt in the playoffs.
Either hurt or just doesn't. It's just not the same. I don't know how to he doesn't look as strong in a sense. They just have seemed scared a lot of the times when I've seen them in the playoffs, especially like when they were playing the Lakers and other older teams. So now they are older since the last time we've seen them because they weren't there last year. So hopefully it'll be different. But I just don't really see it. Houston, I know Houston right now I'm pretty sure is the 2 seed, but the top couple of seeds in the West are so close that like they could potentially still end up being the 4th or 5th seed or something like that. They're again just kind of the youth thing. I have zero faith in the consistency of Jalen Green.
They don't have a true number 1 option, bro.
Yeah, they have something which is dope is they have a lot of different guys who can go out and get you some points, get you 20 or whatever. But I do think, they don't have that identity of who is the guy yet on that team, and they're still trying to figure that out.
It's going to be that Thompson boy in a couple
I think
years.
so. I think, in a couple years, he's really cold. But right now, I just don't see them making it to the conference finals. I think that, especially by the time they make it to that second round, they're going to be probably playing a better team. And then Indiana and New York. Indiana, they're fast paced. They get a bunch of threes up. Halliburton, so I think they can make it out of the first round, but I don't have any faith in them beyond that. And New York this year has just not been good against good teams. Like all year, they've been really bad against good teams, and the playoffs is usually where a Tom Thibodeau team gets exposed because you've been playing all your players all these minutes all year. And then everyone else starts to do that in the playoffs. So, like, your advantage is kind of gone. And then also your guys are way more tired because they've been playing all these minutes all year. Which is why I don't know if y'all saw, Bridges came out the other week and was like, yo, can you play us a little bit less, my dog?
I saw
like,
that shit.
How did you feel when Tiz was like, he basically was like, the reason why I play you a lot of minutes because it's basically not just the guards league, but you're guarding the top forwards, the top wings in the league. So, basically, you're going to go out when they guard, and when they come in, you're going to stay in. How you feel about that?
Yeah, but usually, I'll just say this. I'm pretty sure he or someone on that team is leading the league in minutes. So, clearly, he's playing more than these other top wings and guards and stuff like that. You know, like, that's really just what it is. And also, at the same time, it's what he said is we have other players on this team that, like, could potentially show you something if you ever gave them a chance. Like, you playing everybody else 10 minutes, you know, where it's like, all right, I can't get into it.
Because everybody say they bench is ass, but are they ass like I'm thinking, or like you said, they don't get a chance, so we don't even know?
Yeah, they just don't give guys a chance. You don't. It's really hard to break in one of his rotations, and like I don't think that's always for the better. I think sometimes it's just he knows like, well, I can rely on this guy to play all these minutes.
Because on paper they look good. Like if you had Kenny Atkinson or y'all coach for the Detroit Pistons, that would be a solid squad.
Yeah. So that's them. And we got 3 more tiers. So next we have the quasi contenders. That's Milwaukee, the Lakers, and Denver. I think all 3 of these teams are teams where I'm like, okay, I can see them make it to the finals. I wouldn't bet on that happening. They're not the favorites to me, but all of them have the star power and the talent to get there. Then the next tier is somewhere in between. This is Golden State for me. I think they're somewhere in between the second round ceiling and the quasi contenders. Like, I don't really see them in the finals, but I also think that they could make it to the conference finals. They're just a really weird team for me to figure out right now because it's so Steph heavy and it's so like.
Would you say that
I would
coming
flip the Lakers with the Warriors?
You feel like you could see the Warriors more in the finals than the Lakers?
Actually,
I was gonna say, do you like the Warriors' route no matter if they're coming from the play-in or from a 6 seed?
I mean, I think that them making it to the conference finals, I think really hinges on them being that 6 seed, 6th or 5th seed.
Sure.
I don't think them being in the play-in behooves them with their 3 best players being 34 or older.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to make it a lot tougher, and it just start to wear on them, and also just like the days off and stuff like that.
And then Miami.
You said quasi is they're on the brink, but you wouldn't be surprised if they got to the finals.
Yeah.
And then what was this tier again?
This is just somewhere in between the second round ceiling and the quasi contenders. So like I think that their ceiling, the Warriors could make it past the second round.
Yeah.
But I also don't. I don't think I see them in the finals like at all.
And who else is in this tier?
So it's just them.
Okay.
They're the only team I think that is.
Because I would flip it.
If
If you said the other ones, you're not surprised them into the finals, and them, it's just like I don't know.
What?
because I feel like the tier with Nuggets and the Lakers,
Uh-huh.
I feel like that should be
That is so that
hierarchy.
that technically is higher up. This
Yeah.
is I only said this afterwards because it's like, okay, I gave you these two, now I'm giving you the thing that's
Okay,
in between
okay.
these two because
Yeah.
it wouldn't make as much sense. If
Okay.
Okay.
Fair. It's
trying to
making
wrap around
sense.
that.
It's making sense.
Yeah, that was making sense.
And then the last tier is the actual contenders, and for me, this is OKC, Boston, and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland is looking real shaky recently, but my only thing is I will say is they're kind of like locked up. They've pretty much locked up the 1 seed. Like
Mental
it's possible
fatigue.
for
I was gonna say mental fatigue that they locked it up.
It's possible for Boston to catch them, but I think they would have to lose like almost all the rest of these games basically. So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna keep that 1 seed. They pretty much have that locked up. They've been kind of the most dominant team for sure on the East all year. So I still think I could see them being like a contender. And then of course Boston is the reigning champs, the exact same team. Their record is a little bit worse this year, but I think a lot of that is just they were just so dominant. I don't know if they're taking it as seriously. And then OKC has been probably the best team overall all year, the best team in the tougher conference. They have like right now the best net rating I think ever in NBA history. They clamp you up. Shai's gonna get you 30 to 35 every night. Chet wasn't even playing half the year, and they still have a great record. And now that he's back, him and Hartenstein are playing great next to each other.
Yeah, great shooting.
Yeah.
When they open, it's cash.
And I think they know, like, okay, we've spent a couple of years being the little bros, and now we really only have 2 more years of this team for real. Because then a lot of them are going to be up, like Williams and Chet and some of these other guys are going to be up for extension. So I don't know if they're going to be able to keep all these
everybody
guys together.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is really, okay, we
show
have
window.
the record to show for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely shored up all the flaws or deficiencies that they had last year. But I like him a lot as well too. That nigga Shai is in his prime. I mean, he already hit his prime, but like he's taking it to another level.
Yeah, he's
Especially
hungry.
when you had injuries throughout the year to still keep that number 1 seed, because Chet missed it with his hip or whatever.
Most of the year, yeah.
And now their all-star J-Dub is out right now. They're still doing good, and Hartenstein was injured to start the year too. So
Yeah.
I got to give props to him. My biggest concern is, I mean, they could have easily extended that series against Dallas, but they really, because Shai gonna get his regardless. But I want to see, like, is this time off for Jalen Williams, like, is that going to take away from him? And, like, can you rely on him to be that legit number 2 option? Because if he can be that number 2 option, or at least play that all-star level, no doubt in my mind they're going to be representing the West and playing Boston if everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern. I still think Chet's up and down, but if J-Dub plays well, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah, no, that's what you need is that second guy who was like, okay, I can actually, because he played okay last year. He just didn't play well enough. He didn't play up to the level that you need your number 2 guy to play at. You know? But yeah, so those are the first edition of the tiers.
Okay.
Do y'all have any teams that you think should have been on different tiers, or how do we do?
I was pretty satisfied with the tiers, honestly. Especially the very top tier. If I had to put another team up there with them, just because it's like I love OKC a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got to the conference finals and lost. So I would just,
To who?
Nuggets, the
Oh
Denver
my
Nuggets.
god, nah, bro.
Something about Joker, man.
I mean, that's
gotta put 'em
fair,
there.
but their defense is some Swiss cheese right now. It's so bad.
It is, but
It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean they lost KCP, but outside of that, it's just like when you look at the Western Conference, it really comes down to seeding, like Carl said. Like they could get a nice path there, you know what I'm saying, and OKC could get upset first round. They find a way there, but I think if we're gonna put Cleveland up there, I would put Denver up there as well too, because although Cleveland's been the most healthiest team in the Eastern Conference, and like Carl said with the whole fatigue situation, some of the games I lost, I started to see like it may be fatigue, but I'm starting to see like, am I going to be able to rely on Darius Garland being that legit number 2? I mean, you could take him out in theory and have Hunter play alongside of, and so basically have Mitchell at the 1, and then your wings be Hunter and what's Max Strus
with Mobley to match up with Boston.
With Boston in general. And then their backcourt is just little, bro. I know it's a small sample size, but for example, I saw the Clippers dog them. Zubac dog. He made Mobley and he made Allen look really small as well. Not to say that Boston necessarily plays with a big like that with their back to the basket, but they're gonna get those switches, and you're gonna basically force Garland, whoever, to get out the game as well too. So I just feel like that may be a team where I'm still not quite sold on them.
Okay,
but that's it.
Yeah, that's fair. I was cool with the tiers too. Nothing jumped out at me that I disagreed with, honestly. So
you were cool with the Lakers placement?
Okay, I mean, I'm obviously gonna be a favoritism there. So, but I understand, because ultimately, I've seen where things can go wrong for the Lakers, just in the regular season games since getting Luka. And where teams can exploit them. So I can understand how they wouldn't make it all the way, or even just to the finals. But yeah, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
I mean, if it was, I guess, to go back to the tiers, if there was anything to just tweak, I just may put Boston and OKC just at the top by themselves.
Yeah. Okay. You don't think Cleveland's on that level?
I like what I'm seeing this year with somebody. It's I don't know. They give me that Atlanta Hawks vibe, but with the superstar.
But I was gonna say Donovan Mitchell, and granted he hasn't.
I already know
been
what he's gonna do. Yeah.
2 years, I feel like. But if Donovan Mitchell can be who he most of the time in his career has been in the playoffs, then that to me makes them, because their supporting cast is way better than what he ever had in Utah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's I definitely I'm giving them the credit, but I guess I'm kind of selling them short or cheating them out of giving them the full credit, just because I know when it comes down to it, you got to see Boston in 7 games.
Yeah,
that's a lot of bodies to put on Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, but we're gonna see. That's gonna be a great series regardless, though. I think if they play each other. So no, the tiers segment was fire. I liked it,
and I do feel good about the storylines coming into the playoffs. I do feel like this is a more just a fresher look, I think, on the NBA, as far as not really knowing who the winner is going to be coming into the playoffs, at least from my perspective. So I find that refreshing as a fan.
So, yeah, that's real.
Okay. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I think Boston gonna win the other thing.
Are they going back to back?
Yeah, dog. Yeah. I think OKC. I think it's gonna be like when Miami played OKC back in the day. OKC finds their way getting to the finals, beating everybody in no more than 6 games, and then they just meet Boston, who's experienced, and Boston just gonna beat them. Then after
comparing Boston to Miami is blowing me, but I got you.
Yeah, just in the sense of repeating. Well, that was Miami's first year winning the championship, but just that veteran presence, they're so stacked. I just don't see anybody beating them in 7 games. I don't see it, dog.
I mean, OKC has the same way you talk about Boston has the clamps. OKC has the clamps.
OKC do got the clamps. I'll definitely say they got the clamps, but I just cannot trust, like we said, that number 2 dude to be there to say today. We're gonna see.
Can I trust the number 1 on Boston?
Damn.
I can trust Shai.
Yeah.
If it's a OKC Boston matchup, to me the most dependable player on the court is Shai.
Yeah,
hands down.
Absolutely.
So you're already at an advantage there.
Mm-hmm. But that's what makes them the Boston Celtics. So well, first and foremost, I think Jason Tatum took another leap this year. He's been playing relatively very, very, very well. Definitely top 5 in MVP. Obviously, because of his team, he's never gonna get it. And then Jaylen Brown's right there. And then outside of those number 2, what's good about that team is we expect them to always play at a high level. Those 2 players, but they can play below their season averages and still smack a team up because they're so stacked. So I just don't see anyone beating them, dog. I don't know.
We're gonna see.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Yeah, we are.
So yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with OKC versus Boston, but if we just going for numbers ratings, I'm cool with the Lakers, Boston.
Yeah,
just seeing that little
rivalry.
Yeah, just seeing what I saw a couple weeks ago, that Sunday before LeBron got hurt. Like,
oh yeah,
that would be exciting. That would be exciting for sure.
Yeah, it would be good for the league for sure. They're probably working on that shit right now.
So switching gears, MVP. You know, this has been Joker's, statistically speaking, best year. And then for Shai, he's doing better than what he did last year, and then they're the number one seed yet again. So Shai averaging 33, 6 and 5, and shooting 53% from the field, and Joker's averaging a triple double as a big, 29, 13, 10 assists, almost 60% from the field. Who y'all got and why?
You want to go?
Yeah, I got Yo.
I feel like you were gonna go with Yo.
I got Yo.
I'm not mad at it.
Like, of course, yeah, this is one of those. I think that like
mad at it.
Both of these dudes deserve to win it. I think that whoever doesn't win it is gonna be kind of like some of these Kobe and Shaq seasons where you look back and you're like, how did they not win MVP this year? You know, like it's the numbers kind of like speak for themselves. But to me, it's just like, and I'll definitely admit I think I have some nostalgia bias, but I watched Westbrook win MVP for averaging a triple-double on a team that was worse than this Denver team, and on way less efficiency, like way worse efficiency, like, you know, just not as great brand of basketball. And Jokic is doing it and is, you know, shooting 50, 40, like, and it's just insane. It's just really insane what he's doing. So for me, it's just like, I think that he is, if you take him off of these Nuggets, the Nuggets are probably, I don't even know if they're a playing team. Versus if you take Shai off this team, I think that they're still at least that. I think that they still have enough, like, this team has, the OKC has way better depth, and I think that therefore Jokic is more valuable to his team's wins than Shai is. Shai, I think, is leading to more wins because he has a better supporting cast around him. But, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Those are all valid points. I feel like I may be just in the camp of a little bit of like, and I know he's only got 2, right?
Yup.
Yeah.
He got 3.
Oh, he's got 3. So I'm in the camp now where I'm just at voter fatigue. Yeah, that's really where I'm at. Honestly, it's just give it to somebody else because at this point, like, you know, I feel like all the greats kind of go through that where it's just like they can't. Well, obviously they could. Their numbers can continue to climb, but you at the point where, like, you know, at this point you're almost expecting this this type of statistical greatness, and to the point of like taking that player off the team. Like I agree totally, but I would just give it to Shai just in the sense of like this is probably going to be one of maybe 2 or 3 seasons he's gonna play like this probably. And it might be his only chance to win an MVP in this era. So I would just give it to him off that for real.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Shai as well too, dog. Like, just watching him play, like, he really dominates the game on both floors, and he gives me a little bit of Kobe vibes. A little bit of Kobe vibes, man. Just mastering that mid range. His footwork is like no other.
That snatchback is like a lot like Kobe too.
Yeah, and no matter what you throw at him, he's going to get his numbers as well too. And I think part of it, I also do have voters fatigue as well too. But I like at least that those years where it's like, it's not only are you producing with your numbers, but how's your team's overall team success? Them having a number 1 seed. So you mix that with his dominance. I'll put that there.
I think what's also cool too, I mean, I don't know if this is all on him, but like the team culture and the camaraderie of like those post-game interviews and shit, that's pretty cool to see too. And I feel like that he probably has something to do with that as a team leader and as an organizational leader too. So obviously that doesn't need to tie into the MVP voting, but that just kind of makes me as a voter, if I was a voter, like I see that, and that impact can also bleed on into the court, into your team chemistry too. So.
No, absolutely, dog. Yeah, man. So, I gotta give it to Shai. They do have better depth, but I feel like if you,
Denver would be trash.
Yeah, they would be trash.
They'd be trash. So
Denver would be terrible.
I think OKC would be a play-in team, at least top 10 towards the bottom half, and then Denver might be.
The problem with Denver is they had to pay top money for a bunch of very high end level role players.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon are getting paid like they're, all stars. And neither of those two have ever really been close to being all stars.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamal Murray is close to being an all star, but he's getting paid like Dame or something like that, you know? And I think that's really just one of their roster construction problems, and why I feel like they're Chet to me is someone who is definitely going to be an all-star. I feel like there's no question about that.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams is already an all-star.
Yeah.
Hartenstein to me is I would say he's more of like a wash with Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a lot of the teams are just way more stacked for OKC.
Mm. And then as far as you said, major awards. So obviously we took care of that the main aspect of the major awards. Who's your coach of the year? Or is it going to be Detroit? No one saw this happening, or is it going to be best team, best record, with the Cavs coach? Also, you got Ime Udoka that could be nominated for that too, but I think I'll go with the Cavs coach.
JJ Redick.
Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. When it comes to coach of the year, I do more so give it to like when you make a splash, or when you just come out of left field and like really build a great squad. So honestly, I would more so give it to Detroit in that instance, because nobody expected anything from you. Honestly, now you turn into a playoff team. So yeah. Milo,
Who you got?
I definitely got JB Bickerstaff from Detroit.
Yeah.
I think that Mark Dagnall, I'm pretty sure, won Coach of the Year either last year or the year before, when he did the exact same thing. Like OKC was kind of okay, and then all of a sudden they won like 48, 50 games, and he got Coach of the Year. So I think that it would be. I don't think there would be anything wrong with giving it to him this year, but I think in that same spirit, Detroit definitely deserves it. Like we said earlier, nobody ever thought that they were going to be in this position at the beginning of the year. And I think that coaching, again, like we had some role players, but coaching clearly is a huge part of it. And there's just hasn't been anyone who's made a bigger impact, I think, this year than him. Coming off of like Dagnall is taking a team that already won 50 games last year and having them win a couple more. He's taking a team that won 16 games and they're already at like, almost 40.
Yeah. Nah, I definitely see where I'm coming from. I'm going to go with Kenny. About time he got another coaching gig again, because Kyrie and Kevin Durant said they didn't want him and ended up getting Steve Nash. I don't know why. They got the best record in the league and will probably finish. I mean, it's going to be back and forth with OKC, but I think they're going to end up with the number one overall record in the NBA. 3 All-Stars that year. They took their team to another level, and they're legit final contenders. So that would be my pick. What's y'all 6 man of the year? I'll go Peyton Pritchard.
Boo.
Dude get 40 off the bench. It's OD, man.
Man, he is not. These two, Coach of the Year and 6 man of the year, were very Detroit coded for me, but I think they deserved it.
Okay.
But I'm definitely going Malik Beasley. I think that Peyton Pritchard has been more of the high highs but lower lows. I think Malik Beasley has been a lot more of the like just steady in between.
Okay.
And I value that more from my 6 man. And I think that Malik Beasley is more integral to the success than Peyton Pritchard is. I think Peyton Pritchard, a lot of what he does is when he comes in and scores a lot,
it's like
the game is over.
Yeah,
exactly, because he's putting them over the top.
Yeah.
Versus like you need Malik Beasley to be doing what he's doing in order for the team to be where they're at.
Yeah,
Same
fair
Malik
points.
Beasley.
Yeah, fair points.
Okay.
Yeah.
DPOI?
I just hate that. Well, I don't hate the rule.
He should still be Wemby.
Yeah,
Yeah, real.
but I understand.
He was a runaway.
Yeah.
It just feels like now you give it to anybody else, it just don't feel genuine.
I guess. Mobley?
I mean, yeah, I guess if you look at team success and overall impact, yeah. I saw Draymond say something about he feels like he should get it or some shit. Seen that.
He's in the running.
Yeah.
He's gonna make an all defensive team at least.
He's definitely gonna make an all defensive team.
So I mean, if you want to give it to the player who they have the best record and he's their guy, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hate in situations like that where they don't meet the 65 game limit. Shit just. But he'll do the same thing next year. So,
yeah, for sure. And then after that, he probably gonna win as much as Rudy has won. Rookie of the year is consensus, Mr. Castle from the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, man. And for the first 2 rounds of the dunk contest, he was really good. I feel like, or maybe honestly the whole time, he was step for step. So that was cool. Just seeing him kind of get his love and notoriety during All-Star weekends. And yeah, man, he came into the league a lot more league ready than I thought. I feel like him coming from UConn, like he got great coaching at that level, and then coming to the Spurs organization, he just got even more great coaching and development under the Spurs as well. So yeah, great player, going to be a perennial All-Star in my opinion. So yeah.
What about clutch player of the year?
Who is in the? They haven't like released a list or anything like that.
I don't think so yet.
Yeah, clutch. To me, this year, clutch player of the year is going to be someone that I feel like is going to be a little bit more nondescript. I don't think there's been as many heroics this year.
Right. Yeah.
Like the year when Steph won it, I feel like it was really clear. The years that like Dame and stuff, it's been really clear.
De'Aaron had it last year, right?
Yeah, and that was to me.
Last year.
Yeah, it was getting really clear. He was hitting a bunch of game winners. I don't feel like there's been anyone doing that this year.
I feel like not necessarily game winners, but I guess the clutch time was at under 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was under 2.
I think it's. I would have to double check. I think it's 5 though. But the games that have been close, granted, they have a losing record against these top tier teams. Jalen Brunson's going crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I would, that makes sense actually.
So I'll go with him.
MIP.
Yeah, your boy Bronny, man. What's up?
Did you just skip over MIP?
Oh, most improved. My fault. Shit.
God damn.
I feel like he hella old. Norman Powell, but he missed a little bit of time. All-Star snub.
That was not snub, bro.
There was somebody else too that I was thinking.
To me, Dyson Daniels is the most improved.
That's a good one.
He was just a regular role player on the Pelicans. No one was talking about last year. He's averaging 3 steals a game, which is the most since like someone I think from the 80s or something like that. And is definitely going to be an all-defensive team member. He's also averaging like 14 a game, like 14, 5, and 4, something like that, with 3 steals. I think that nobody's really like Norman Powell was already a scorer. Adding a couple more points when there's a vacancy kind of makes sense versus someone who nobody thought was going to be an impact. Well, he wasn't looking like an impact player. Of course, he's a young player, so you hope. But
how many games has Quentin Grimes played?
To me, all of his if he was playing like this the whole year, I could see it being him. But I think that his stats for the year are probably still just going to be like 12
it's just as of late because
like
injuries and whatnot. Okay.
The odds are saying Cade Cunningham at -200,
which I think is dumb. I think that a former number 1 overall pick shouldn't be winning
MIP.
most improved because you are the one that everyone most expects to improve. You are supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, I like the brutal honesty. I like it. Okay.
Bronny.
He just had his best game.
Hey, fuck Stephen A. Stephen A.
He came out and apologized after that game, which is insane.
And then just like fucking basically half apologized on some like, I might have been wrong type shit, but like it's still your daddy type shit. That's what he was on. And I was like, you know what, Stephen, like it's okay, bro. You ain't gotta get every take right. Or sometimes players that you might not think is that great gonna have good games here and there. It's 82 games in the season. But I did go see him. This was like while we were on our break, but I did go see Bronny for one G League game.
Yeah.
I do believe he will be a solid role player. I think he does a really great job of like his floor presence and his feel of the game is definitely there, which is crazy because he only spent so much time in college and actually playing those games. But I think he could end up having kind of like that Alex Caruso journey where obviously Alex went undrafted, but having a situation where like you stick in the league because you're defensive minded and can knock down a corner 3-point jumper here and there, and when it's your time to get a either a guaranteed spot on a roster. That's kind of how I see his career trajectory panning out. But I also don't think that he deserves the airtime that he's getting on First Take. I think it's outlandish for how First Take handled it. I don't know how other like First Things First or Undisputed has been handling shit, but just like the way First Take, talk about LeBron and like got fucking Bronny's highlights in the background. Not fucking with that. That shit was not cool. But he'll get better with time, just like a bunch of undrafted or second round picks will do when they get into the G Leagues. What's for? But yeah, I definitely believe in it. He got the genetics to be in the league. So yeah.
What would you say his comp would be for his tenure in the NBA, assuming that he plays like 8-10 plus years?
If I had to say like a current player right now, I would give it like a Davion Mitchell type player, like for the Miami Heat, and that undersized. Hell, I mean, if it really works out for him, he'll never get to this level of defense. But like,
Lou Dort.
No, I was gonna say like Avery Bradley type.
Oh, okay. I'm not mad at that.
Like,
I'm not mad at that at all.
He'll like potentially maybe be like a journeyman, but like he can like hang his hat on that part of the floor. I feel like, but he's gonna need to get a lot better because when he's on the floor with actual A1 guards, like it doesn't look good.
Are you like a Dennis Schroeder or something?
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And then I guess we can go with Real Rapper Cap.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Real Rapper Cap. Miami will move on from Pat Riley in the offseason and have a new general manager.
Nah, I'm pretty sure he like
because they've been in the middle of the pack team since LeBron has left.
Yeah,
and Jimmy saved them guys. Now they just looking terrible.
Yeah, but I think him and the owner really got an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It seemed like he cool with like the Heat culture piece that Pat has built, and that he does feel responsible or that he is responsible for that, and that can afford him the ability to have a season like this. And I'm pretty sure he was on the same page about moving Jimmy, so I'm pretty sure he understood like what the results are going to be of that. But now I am kind of like what Carl was saying with the tiers of like the Chicagos of the world or Sacramento of the world. Like you just don't know what they're gonna do next at this point, and that's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But hell, I mean, well, has Miami been like signed free agents for real?
It's just been mid free agents. The biggest free agent they signed was Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, so that could potentially be an
post-LeBron
issue.
era.
Yeah, that could potentially be an issue. Depends on, what they can do in that arena, but I don't think they have a lot of like draft capital outside of their own like regular first round picks and stuff.
Yeah, they should have tanked earlier, bruh.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I just feel bad. Like I feel like Spo post Bron hasn't really had a team, like a top tier team to coach that really put his coaching on display. So
they were still decent when they had Chris Bosh. That he just kept
that
blood
like
clots.
half a year.
Yeah, he played like two. I think like there were 2 straight years where the blood clots took them out for the second half of years, and then their record was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. So you said Cap.
Cap.
You said Cap.
Yeah, super Cap.
I'm gonna go with Cap too. Real rapper Cap. I know it's light years away, but Kyrie will return back to All-Star level when he gets back.
I seen he just turned 33 today, I think. I think the All-Star game really is a popularity contest. So if I had to really look at it,
Not necessarily All-Star, making an All-Star game, just All-Star level, like we said with Jamal Murray.
you're
like,
just talking about like just with the tear and shit. Oh
yeah.
yeah, sure.
He's just so shifty, and he plays very low to the ground.
Right, and he be cutting shit.
A lot. I'm just like, and he's 33.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's a student
maybe
of the game.
Though. I mean,
you
yeah.
may have to adjust his game, play more like a Dame sort of, and just become a high volume shooter.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I don't know. That's actually I'm iffy on that one. Actually, I don't know whether to go
real rap
or not.
What you got? I already know his face.
I think it's Cap, unfortunately. I don't think he's gonna be. I think he'll still be good, but I don't think he's gonna be like he was playing some of his best basketball.
Yeah, past couple years been 50, 40, 90, damn near flirting with it.
Yeah, like last year in Dallas, and then the first half of this year in Dallas, he was playing really, really great. So I don't know if that's something that we're gonna see again following this injury.
Okay. Real rapper Cap. LaMelo will be traded in the offseason. There's been rumors, but I don't know what Charlotte wants to do.
I'm trying to think of like the buyers. But I mean, at this point, they tried to move Mark Williams, obviously, and they're particularly young, I guess. I mean, it depends if they want to go the whole route with fucking bro from Alabama, the second pick from last year. But I mean, I mean,
Brandon Miller.
He just is not your franchise player for real. So I could say real rap on that. Just from I feel like from a maturity standpoint and just from like a leadership standpoint, he's probably not the player you want as your franchise.
Yeah, he's flashy, it's nice, but like you said, his game doesn't contribute to winning. And like I'm not asking you to be a playoff team, but like,
can we progress?
Right. And it's been nothing, and he's been injured every freaking year. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go real rap. What about you, Carl?
I don't think he's gonna get traded. I think that he's all that they have right now.
Do you think that also depends on like if they were to get the number 1 pick and just decide to do a new route and let's say trade him and
if they get the number 1 overall pick, they're not taking a guard, so
yeah,
no point in like to me that you only really do that if when you're taking someone that same position. It's not that this year. So
because I'm just trying to figure out like let's say they do get the number 1 pick and they happen to get flagged, like do they want to give the keys to flag early? And also knowing like from a marketing standpoint for the league, like he's going to be the first white American player to have like high level potential. Because they already got Brandon Miller and they re-signed Bridges, and then you got LaMelo, so he would
Bridges
just be a role player.
I don't think there's any world where they keep Bridges and not LaMelo.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make sense to me. Bridges is a guy again. Like if he was on a better team, he wouldn't be putting up 20 a game. I don't think his game is really all of that. I don't see them. LaMelo is all that you have right now. Like Brandon Miller looks nice, like he's gonna be good, but LaMelo already has been an all-star and has already shown to impact winning. And I will say the only thing I will give you is that the Hornets are a terrible organization and they run their franchise very poorly. So if there's anybody who would make a Luka-like decision, I feel like it would be them. But if we're rationally thinking, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Real rapper Cap. Doc Rivers will get out of the second round this year.
Man, I feel bad for Doc sometimes.
Why?
I mean, just like I feel like I wanna support him.
My black king.
The black coaches out here, man. But But yeah, I mean, it just seemed like he'll plateau. He'll hit a spot where he just can't go no further. Um, so yeah, I'd say Cap. I'd say Cap.
I'm gonna say Cap too. In my mind, I already have it made up. It's gonna be the Cavs versus the Celtics. So, and he hasn't proven anything in history post Celtics era where he has. So, I'm gonna go Cap.
How much longer Giannis got in Milwaukee? If that happens, though.
He just signed that extension when Dame got traded last year, so I think he got like 4 more years on his deal.
So yeah, he ain't going nowhere then.
What about you?
It's crazy. I wanted to say Cap, but like I'm thinking about where I have Milwaukee.
Tears, yeah.
So I'm like, I guess there's a chance, you know.
Yeah.
There's always a chance.
Because you got Giannis and Dame, bro. You got Giannis and Dame, and their skill set is very transferable in the playoffs to make a deep run.
That's the only thing is we've yet to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Last year, Giannis was injured the whole time, and then Dame got injured towards the end of the series. So,
I don't like that Kuzma trade though.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but the only thing I'll give them is that I think that if you're taking the two players, and I think sometimes the easiest way to compare people is 2K ratings. But if say Chris Middleton's an 82 and Kyle Kuzma's like an 80, of course you're downgrading, but I think the fact that Kyle Kuzma is going to be available outweighs the thing of Chris Middleton.
I only take that he's available.
He just hasn't been there every time they've needed him since they won the championship, basically.
That's very true. That's very true. I just like that 3-level scoring when it comes to the playoffs and playmaking from Middleton. And it looked like he was finally going to be healthy this year, but like you said, you can't bank on that shit. So I ain't mad at it. Switching gears to the NCAA god over here, Terrence Whaley. Fill us in with what's been going on.
Yeah, man. Real quick, I feel like the play-in tournament, like just to start off things last week was really good. They had their most views ever for the play-in tournament to start March Madness, so that was great. I feel like people are tuned in that situation. But now, like I was saying, kind of like the fact that things are balanced a lot more now, as far as like Kentucky doesn't have like 7 fucking 5-star McDonald's All-Americans and Duke doesn't have the same. We're seeing a lot less like upsets, I'd say, than we're normally used to. We still had some like McNeese, who was a 12th overall seed, advanced, and then we had some 10 seeds as well. There've been close games, but they just haven't been as exciting as last year's, or not even last year's, but like just previous years past, honestly, with like buzzer beaters and stuff like that. There haven't been many of those, and I think that there's just like there's a lack of college or of NBA first round level talent in the tournament itself. Like 2 of the like top 5 regarded picks, they played for Rutgers, and in Dylan Harper and I'm forgetting the other kid's name. Huh?
Is Ace Bailey in the team?
Yeah, Ace Bailey. Yeah, so they're on the same team together, and Rutgers didn't make the tournament. So like just like not having that star power definitely hurts. And I feel like how it's looking right now, if like I was telling you off camera, I think this is probably Duke's best year to do it, and I think that would be great for the NCAA because Duke's fan base is big and people hate them, so they're kind of like what's the word, polarizing in that way. Yeah. But there are some other teams that can do it as well. Houston, where I went to school, former alumni.
Same.
Yep, shout out Houston every time. Can also get there as well. But I do think Duke has the best route to get to the championship game, based off of who they've played so far and who they have coming. And yeah, I'll say this: I started the year kind of down on Cooper Flag, just in the sense of like seeing that I didn't know he could like get his own bucket or get his own offense. He can in ways, like he can get it from like the low post, and then he can kind of also shoot a little bit off the dribble. He's really good in transition, and like defensively, he's gifted. So I do think my ceiling for him once he gets to the league is different now that I've seen enough games of him. But yeah, I'm just upset that there's not as much NBA level talent watching the games. Yeah, college I think is definitely taking a step back, at least this year.
Yeah, and you think part of that is because of like the NIL deals and whatnot?
I think I do think that a little bit plays in, because now you're having players who are getting these NIL deals where their talent may not actually match, what their output is, and that just affects the overall budget of what a team can spend. So you might have had to spend like damn near $2 million to get a player who is just not as good as they were supposed to be, and that just affects the whole roster. That means you could have got another kid that might have been even better as a value add, and I think that we're seeing that come into play with the SEC, because they had like 13 teams get into the tournament, which means as a whole their conference was really solid, and they probably had the most talent like top to bottom as far as all the teams that were involved in the NCAA. But they lost a lot of games. I think the only teams that are from the SEC that are still in the tournament are Alabama, Kentucky, and Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. So like you started with 13 and now you're down to like 3 or 4 teams left. And that's just, again, taking away the talent that's currently in the NCAA tournament. So right now I feel like Duke really holds a lot of the talent pool. And then maybe Auburn as well, who's another SEC team. So yeah, I think it's like four teams left. I think
Did you expect UConn to fizzle out this early? Because they were going for a 3P, right?
Yeah, I did, because they basically lost their entire starting 5 except for one senior. Everybody else was like first round pick, or the other dude, their point guard, was a second round pick from last year's draft. But yeah, Newton. I forget who he's playing for, but I literally saw him on TV the other day. It might have actually been Denver. But yeah, so they usually, when you lose your whole starting 5 in NCAA, you never gonna turn back around and like win a bunch of games in the tournament the next year.
Are there any losses that you were the most disappointed or shocked by so far
in the tournament?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I would say St. John's. St. John's losing to Arkansas. That was a 2-10 upset. So Arkansas was like the 10 seed and St. John's was the 2 seed. That was a shocker to me, just because I felt like St. John's has a squad where they don't have pros on their team, but they're a deep squad, and they have really good guards. And what I've noticed as like a common denominator in college level anyway, the great teams, the ones that always get to the Elite Eight or Final Four, the common denominator is having great guard play. So that's why I was surprised to see them go down so early. But yeah, I think overall this year might be a little bit of an outlier as far as the talent is concerned, which is crazy because this is supposed to be one of the better NBA drafts coming up soon, or this year in June. But a lot of it also has some overseas talent and players playing in Europe in different leagues, so they're not all just coming straight from college. But yeah, I think overall this March Madness is definitely a little bit of a downgrade from previous years.
So right now it looks like you're leaning heavily as a favorite for Duke potentially winning it all.
Sadly.
Being a USC fan, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sadly.
Who
man.
On the opposite side of the bracket do you think is gonna be in that championship game?
Ooh, it's a good question. I feel like I don't want to play favorites and say Houston.
Yeah.
But if I really had to think about it, like, I would say Auburn has the best chance because they're deep and they're older too. Everybody on their roster is a senior or a graduate level player. But I'll also say Florida too. Florida's team is really good. They have good guard play. They have great shooting, great rebounding, and they're a deep team as well. And I think from a national championship perspective and a viewership perspective, I think Florida versus Duke would be a good game. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. Switching over to the music side of things, there was a very anticipated album that came out not too long ago. I'm talking about Playboi Carti. The last time he released the album was in 2020. His newest album was titled I Am Music. Terrence Whaley, who is a fan of music, man, what were your thoughts on that album? Were you even able to listen to the entirety? Because it had 30 tracks.
Yeah. I not in one sitting. I had to do it in 2 sittings. It dropped on like a Friday night. I remember listening to like the first 10 or 12 songs on that Friday night, and then on the Saturday, I finished it up. Yeah, Cardi shot 30% from the field, man. I only kept 10 of them. But I will say this, of those 10, they are really good tracks. I've learned that I do like Cardi and The Weeknd on a song together. Like they've done really good. And was not expecting my favorite song to have Kendrick on it. Just from the Not Like Us fatigue, I just felt like I ain't want to hear no more Kendrick for the rest of the fucking time. But he came on to a song called Backdoor. That's my favorite from the album. Did a really good job. And Janae Aiko is on that track as well. They did a really good job on that one. And then there's another one called damn, it's escaping me right now. But Future's on 2 tracks. I like one of the tracks that he's on. Those are like my top 3, I'd say, that I really, really liked the most. But yeah, I thought people were saying that the song or the album being 30 tracks, that he had a song on there for everybody. Like even if you weren't a Cardi fan, you could find something on there that like made you feel like, okay, I can keep this, or I can, be a fan of this. So yeah, but yeah, I would say I'm still a Die-Lit fan as far as albums go, from his catalog. But the 10 songs that I liked, I definitely plan on replaying for a while.
Yeah, 30 songs. First and foremost, 30 songs is just way too long. I happened to had to take care of a lot of things yesterday, so I forced myself to listen to all 30 songs.
Damn.
And it was transition between being in my headphones and being in the car and then cleaning up the spot as well too. I don't really listen to him too much, and obviously like that's not my niche. I still like that somewhat of a lyrical content when it comes to rap, and obviously I like R&B or like some spacey type of vibes. But it looked like he experimented a lot. It was like spacey yet very ragey, yet he was trying to be pop-ish. So it was an acquired taste, I have to say, but I would give it the same. He shot 10 from 30 for the field. Definitely a high volume shooter as well too. And honestly, I don't really feel like it was cohesive, but I don't think he was going for that vibe anyways as well too. So I think as a avid listener of music, I need to take a step back and not really try to compare other artists to each other as well too. But I can see why what they call today the YNs would like this album as well too. I feel like it's more tailored towards the younger audience, which I can appreciate.
And to speak on the audience for a little bit, it's been cool kind of on TikTok seeing the dialogue of the people that are complaining about the DJ tags that are throughout the album, with the I or fuck, what's the DJ's name? Fuck.
Is it DJ?
I'm fucking blanking right now. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I got you.
This nigga Carl, like, I didn't even listen to that album. I ain't telling you shit.
Hey, bro, I can't tell you a damn thing about this.
Swamp Izzo.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other dude from back in the day, beard.
Oh, DJ Drama?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
DJ Drama a little
bit. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, people were complaining like throughout the album that he was like stamping every song, and like there were times where he was like throughout the album, like, or as the song was going on, he was kind of like ad-libbing through.
Yeah.
And the dialogue on the other side of that argument is that the reason why he did that was to give it a mixtape feel, because for the people that aren't coming from the rap side of his audience who is present today, don't really know about that Dat Piff era, or like growing up with the Gucci Mane and DJ Drama, you know, that sound.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot, almost like a healthy dialogue of like, yo, like y'all need to go back and do y'all's history a little bit and be like, Playboi Carti's from Atlanta, and the reason why he has all these DJ tags in his music is because that's what he grew up with. And if y'all love him as fans, like y'all say y'all do, like you'd understand that piece. So I thought that was cool to kind of see back and forth between the fans too on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, the features were really, really good. Like you said, at this point, Playboi and the Weeknd don't miss. I really like Philly. So that second song with Travis Scott, Backdoor, obviously, that was really good as well too. I like the Skepta joint, Toxic, it grew on me as well.
Yeah, that one's good.
Individual. Oh, that Young Thug song. Young Thug floated.
Damn,
on
you
song.
like that one?
Yeah,
This is crazy.
I kind of liked it. He floated. I guess because I haven't
crazy.
heard Thug in a minute.
Yeah.
But he kind of floated on that joint.
That's crazy. The reason why I didn't like it was because it sounded like a radio hit for me.
Yeah.
And I usually don't like that as much, but I do
From
agree.
him in general, or artists in general, like radio
From
friendly
Thug,
song?
I guess.
Okay.
But you know, I understood, and I can see what you mean by him floating on it.
Yeah,
though. He did a good job.
Yeah. Then I feel like a lot of these songs, a good amount of these songs, like since we're in the social media era, I feel like they can be a TikTok trend type of situation as well too. I didn't really. There's not. I mean, would you say there's a good amount of songs that you can like play at the club or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Not really. Good workout music though.
Or just festival music, which is where I
yeah.
feel like his fans really congregate towards. And they I know you was there. I know you was at Rolling Loud. I know you saw a bunch of them. So I feel like they enjoy that rage part of the fan base, and that's perfect music for festival.
Yeah. I just like having some form of substance with music. Like, I mean, I get it. Like he don't be talking about shit.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, damn.
He probably be high off the fucking Molly and his Danny most of the time. So even if he was trying to talk about some shit, he probably don't remember or don't want to say it type shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as far as like being gone for 5 years, as far as album release, that 30 songs is OD for anybody, and no matter what situation is. But I think he was just like having fun type shit, and I think the label recognizes how much his fan base is diehard.
I didn't realize how big his fan base is. I went on his Instagram, I was just bored. I think he had like 13 million followers.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yep. They fuck with him. They fuck with him hard. Like they loyalty wise, you know, the YNs. That's their man. That's their master.
Yeah, like my cousin, he I forgot he goes to Weber State. Not Weber State. I'm sorry, that's where Dame went. He goes somewhere in Massachusetts, but he's 19 and he loves that album.
Yep.
Like, he said because he played football too. That's all they be listening to when they working out at lunch. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, 30 songs was ridiculous. He could have did like 15, even 18, and then maybe had a deluxe after. But I mean, if you're gonna have 30 regardless, I mean, you might as well just throw it out there.
I was gonna say like a little 2 discs album situation. But yeah, he said, fuck it, I'm putting this shit all out at once.
So if you had to rate that joint because the music they rated out of 5. No, do they still rate out of 5 stars?
Oh,
or if you just had to rate the album, what would you rate it?
I mean, I'm gonna give it a good little 5 out of 10, in my opinion. Yeah, but it's not for me.
It's not for you. Yeah.
So
and, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like there's a certain level of critique that you can put on music or a body of work
without disrespecting
it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's music, it's artistry, and it's meant to be abstract, you know. So Hope his fans enjoyed it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
There's definitely some songs that are gonna be played by me, but as far as it as an entirety, I don't think it really gets played back for me like that.
Yeah, I feel you.
So
Fair enough.
it is what it is. I love movies as well too. Just saw Mickey 17 starring Robert Pattinson as well too. For those of you guys who don't know, Mickey 17 was actually an adaptation from the book / novel Mickey 7. And with Mickey 17, the only difference is they had 17 Expendables. But with Mickey 17, it's sci-fi / interstellar travel / plausible fiction, so to say. But it's basically about a guy who signs up to be an expendable to go to another distant planet in another galaxy to colonize an ice planet. And when you sign up to be expendable, you basically are surrendering the rights to your life in a sense. And what's being done is there's groundbreaking technology, I think in the 2050 setting, where you can reprint yourself but keep and upload your consciousness every single time. And it takes a turn basically because with Expendables you're only supposed to have one at a time. But all hell breaks loose when they finally colonize the ice planet. They go to do like a risky little job to basically find out a little bit more about the natives. They think he dies, so they print the 18th one, and there's a lot of back and forth trying to figure out like who's who and all this other stuff as well too. But Carl, you say you just saw that joint last night, man. What were your thoughts on the film?
I thought it was dope. Yeah, there was a lot of little things that I appreciated. The main character, Mickey, has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend at a certain point was like, they make it to this new planet, and the leader of the colony is talking about these aliens, and she's like, bro, we are the aliens. We don't belong here. We just came here. Like, how are you going to try and... But again, that's just so white man of you to be trying to even think to call someone else an alien when you're on their planet is insane.
Yeah.
So there's just like a bunch of little stuff like that I really appreciated about it.
The political satire was hilarious.
Yeah, the political satire.
You already knew who they was trying. It was like a blend. It was like a blend of Trump and Elon Musk.
Yeah, which they wish they could be. But yeah,
y'all gonna make me want to go see this on tonight for real.
It was funny, and that was the thing too. Like, it was good. It had some like nice little easy political commentary, where it's not like this doesn't feel like too heavy and deep or whatever.
Yeah.
But also had a lot of funny moments. I can't think of her name, and I knew it as soon as I saw
actress?
her. His wife, Mark Ruffalo's wife.
Oh, I don't know her, like her actual name.
She was in Hereditary. She was in The Power. And I knew her name as soon as I saw her last night, but I can't think of
Toni
her.
Collette?
Yes, Toni Collette acted her ass off in that shit too. Like, she was playing Mark Ruffalo's wife, and like her facial expressions, the way she was, everything in it was just like really perfect. And of course, Robert Pattinson.
I was about to say Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, he did a great job too. So
already, like from an acting standpoint, it's like you're memorizing two different set of lines, and because the way they do it is they basically like frame it correctly, and he's basically doing all his lines and character work for this one and then for that one, and they just match it together. But for him to go back and forth, and you saw the clear like distinct personalities between the two, that was pretty dope as well too. So the acting, honestly, from top down was amazing, I thought too. And what's the director's name? Bong Joon?
Yeah.
He directed Parasite.
I
I definitely want to check out some more of his body of work as well too, but I did like the dark humor aspect to it as well. And it just makes me think, like, why do human beings always fuck shit up, man?
It's what we do.
It's what we do. It's what we do. It's what we do.
I feel like it's because we haven't met a match in the sense of like another creature that could really extinct us all. So we just got that complex.
Yeah.
I guess my other question that had me thinking is just like, you're printing essentially another human being, but you're uploading the consciousness. So like, is that even technically you or not? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, that's a greater sci-fi question, but for me, all intents and purposes, yeah, it's me. Like if it has all my memories, if I think that I'm like technically like it's not because this version of me is dead.
Yeah.
But I'm still existing, So like in my mind, it still feels like it's me. So to me, that's enough. Yeah.
That shit is just trippy because I still believe in like a soul too.
Mm-hmm. But I think that was part of it too, like, and not to ruin too much, but a lot of them, his girlfriend describes like they all have different personalities. Mm-hmm. So I think that is a part of it. Is like I think they kind of are saying the soul does matter, and that all of these have different souls. They all have the same memories and all that other stuff. But the same way that if we were to clone ourselves now, like that's technically gonna be a different individual. But it's gonna have all all the same memories and all that other stuff. But I clearly, if you saw like Mickey 17 and 18 were supposed to be the exact same thing, and they wanted to do completely different things at the same time. So I think it's one of those you can never have an exact copy of somebody because there's just so much that goes into that. Mm-hmm. But for all intents and purposes, it's the same person.
Mm-hmm. I read another novel not too long ago. I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm going blank. But it's based on interstellar travel as well too. It has that same like dark humor based tone. But I gotta think of the name. I can't think of the name right now. But anyways, like another thing that they did in that novel that they actually turned into a movie with Ryan Gosling. I don't know why I can't think of that right now. It'll come back in my head. But basically, like they created a device to basically interact with the aliens. Do you think we're ever going to get to a point where we're going to be able to take like a specific pitch or tone to communicate with another life form? And it doesn't have to be obviously like an alien, but like a dog or something like that. You think that's actually feasible?
I mean, I will say this. I don't think that... I think if you look at the last 100 years of human history, it is foolish to say that something's not feasible. Because, like, if you were to take a touchscreen smartphone to somebody in the 1930s, there's no, like, this is an impossibility. Like, there's no way that you would think, like, something... Even, shoot, we have self-driving cars and stuff like that now.
That's crazy.
That's the freak me out,
I'm still trying to get in away mode to see what's up.
Yeah, so, like, I just think that human technology is... We're in, like, that golden phase right now where things are just growing exponentially. So I would never put a cap on that. The only thing I will say is that I think that sometimes when it comes to... It's one thing, you're saying it not just aliens, but if we talk to animals. But when it comes to, like, alien life forms, I think that sometimes we overstate how simple things... How we want things to really be simple. And I think that there's always the possibility, like, okay, just because we speak with our words... We have no idea how another species, they communicate. It could be completely non-verbal or non-audio or audible. So yeah, just a lot of stuff like that I think that type of communication is it's just way harder. You just never know.
Yeah, the novel was Project Hail Mary, but that's going to be adapted into a movie as well too. So I'm excited to see what happens. And I think the main difference between, like I said, Mickey 7 and 17. He might have to close the ears for this one. Oh, just say la la la. So the main difference was this: in the novel itself, both of them exist. Like they don't die. Like,
gotcha.
Yeah, both of them exist. And then they actually have a sequel out right now called Anti. You can.
Good.
They actually have a sequel out now for a book called Anti Blue Matters. But basically, the difference with the book and the movie is they have an energy source that they use to basically help them live. And what they did in the book was Mickey gave it to the alien as like a little peace treaty. But now they realize they need it back. So basically, like he's having conflict with them right now. So I don't see them making another film. I think it's cool like that by itself. But no, that was a very, very solid film, man. Like they executed it really well. What would you give out of a 10?
I guess a 9. We usually do ours out of 5, so we gave it like a 4.5, but that's probably like a 9. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it like an 8.4. Do you have Letterboxd?
Yeah.
I need to add you on Letterboxd. I'm starting to make some reviews with stuff too. I like
Definitely
you got Letterboxd?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely
like,
add me,
no.
but we honestly mostly put in
The ratings as opposed to.
well, no, we do a lot of it on Asia's because like we see pretty much all these movies together. So like
Yeah.
my girlfriend we do a lot of the noting in like her Letterboxd account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm still trying to add some on mine.
Because one of my friends, he's in a relationship. They just have one together.
Mm.
Like in their whole profile picture of them kissing each other and all that stuff too. But
Oh.
Letterboxd is like a social media for films.
Oh, okay.
You just rate, and you can go to other forums and look at other people's opinions on stuff like that. They have a chat and stuff. It's pretty dope.
Okay.
yeah, pretty dope. It's
So
fun too.
shit, y'all might meet somebody out there, so they have the same taste as you or something.
Hey man, that's always a possibility for sure as well too. So no, that was pretty cool. Any other topics? I know we're running a little late. We can always save other topics
Yeah,
for
that's cool.
later.
That's cool.
I have another segment called Nasty Work of the Week. So a nasty work of the week, it kind of speaks for itself. But I'm gonna choose something that I saw from social media, and we're just gonna kind of talk about it as well too. So a video that I saw for Nasty Work of the Week, I don't know if it's old or it's just new to me. It went viral. There's a group of college students, and they were playing Never Have I Ever, right? So the guy asked a question: Never have I ever cheated on my girlfriend? Everybody, either raise their hand or put their hands down. And he points to one of the guys who has a girlfriend. And he's like, raise your hand. You cheated on her last week. And then they were like, oh. And then the dude, like, who had the camera, he just, like, cut it off. He's like, oh, like, this is kind of getting awkward as well, too. So that was nasty work of the week.
Yeah, man. He was plotting.
Now, that was going to be my question. Like, what do you think came from that? Do you think the dude was friend zone and he was, like, looking at an opportunity? Because that's L-Man's.
I mean, yeah, I feel like ultimately in that moment, you're going to lose your friend in that moment. So I think he's just like trying to use that as an opportunity to get in. And I done seen Dirty Mackin'. Had Dirty Mackin' happen to me. So like, ooh. I know what it's like, bro. That shit's just dirty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like there's also like, I see you going to do what you're going to do, but I feel like there's an unspoken bro code rule.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he definitely broke that rule. So I don't know if they was friends or not, or maybe he was friends with Shorty at first, but I'm just like, bro, you just can't be doing stuff like that. Cause we fighting. Yeah, even like in my ass beat, we fighting on sight, dog. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not rocking with that shit, bro.
Yeah, so he definitely wins the Hater of the Week award for sure. Do you think as men we should take shit to the grave?
Of course. What do you mean? Yeah, what? Easily. This shit don't like. There's things that happen that shouldn't even be spoken. Mm-hmm. You'll take them to the grave, but like you don't even bring them up when you in a room with the person that did the bid, and you don't even speak it. It's just locked in your head type shit. You know?
Nah, I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think. It's definitely not like something to be proud of. I feel like. But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not, if you were, as my friend, were to tell me a secret, especially like, okay, if me and the guy are friends first, like, and you tell me a secret or you did some shit, I just don't think that I need to step into your relationship. I think you knew what you did, and yeah, it's kind of just at that. Especially, I don't think that I should be unsolicited giving out that information when, to be real, it's like, wrong or not, you confided in me to tell me this. And if I value you as a friend, which also I think that's what it really comes down to is, you need to look at your friend's actions and decide, okay, do I still want to be friends with somebody who's doing this? But if you do, then it's like, yeah, I'm not going to, kind of ruin your trust and make you feel like you've lost a friend or you can't tell me things. So
yeah, it's just a tough situation because I've had experience where like I was an op in favor of my friend because like I saw they were long distance and I saw his girlfriend on Tinder and this is my best guy friend. I'm like,
yeah, that's different. That's for sure. I'm like,
yo, like your shorty who she ain't what she claimed to be, bro. Like, what's up? But in saying that, that would probably be the only way I would break news.
But I also learned from that experience too, where it's just like, that's their relationship, and as a guy, I just should keep my mouth out of the whole situation as well too. Like, y'all go about your shit. Like, that's none of my business as well too.
Nah, I think that. I think it depends on how close you are with somebody, but like. If it's one of my close friends, then your relationship in a way does affect me. Yeah. You know, so like, and I said only in a way of like, if I see that your shorty is doing something, I do feel like, yeah, I'm gonna say something. Now you can decide what you want to do with that information, if you want to be in denial or whatever. But like, I'm not gonna sit there and then something happens and you come and find out that I knew, and it's all of a sudden like, why didn't you? That's that shit.
That's that shit.
Like, if you want to be mad at me for telling you the truth, then again, that's one of those things where I need to decide, like, do I want to be friends with somebody who is gonna be mad at me,
for telling it how it was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nah. I just had a bad experience with that too. I mean, she was in the wrong anyways, because this girl went on like Instagram, DM me, got my number, and would just bash me saying nasty shit. I'm just like, blip, like, you cheat on my man? Like, what you mean? Like, what was you expecting? Wow. And this shit said verified. You know, I thought, you be thinking shit fake. That shit said verified. Instagram link there, everything. I was like, yo, it's nasty out here, bro. It's really nasty out here, bro. So that was just something I want to talk about for Nasty Work of the Week as well, too. Get well soon, homie from social media. Any last words for any last closing words for the episode?
I'm gonna check out Letterboxd. Luka go crazy in the playoffs, dog. And yeah, man, shit, keep working hard.
What about you?
Oh shit.
That nigga Carl working hard.
Man, boy, they be working me. But yeah, man, hope everybody has a great week. This is the first day of us doing things a little bit differently, so hopefully y'all rock with it, and we will see y'all soon.
Very refreshing too. I'm excited to see like what happens as we transition into like the off season and see how the flow of things go as well too. But I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're gonna get around that. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode, ladies and gentlemen. That was the latest episode of the Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at the Seezus Show, at Sir Seezus, at Carl Conyers, at Terrence Whaley _. We out.
Peace.